Hi, this is Ned Hallowell of the podcast Distraction, and we have a unique episode today at East Rock Coffee House, which is really where we began. They really are the clubhouse, if you will, for this show. They're the inspiration for it in many ways. It's a very tiny little coffee shop in New Haven where interesting people convene to connect. And they don't allow electronics to be used there. You can't be online. You have to be talking to people. And it seemed like such a crucible of what we're all about, a crucible of connection. This marvelous place. Dave, Colin, and the staff are just wonderful people, have been very generous opening their doors. We've had some of our most interesting interviews there. Support those kind of coffee houses wherever you might have one in your neighborhood. They don't do the big-time business that the well-known chains do, but what they do provide is something so much more valuable than the coffee and the food, which is wonderful. But it is that vitamin C, Vitamin Connect. It's a destination. People want to go there in the morning to see their friends, to sit there. They want to go there in the afternoon. And East Rock Coffee is sort of like a symbol, if you will, the Statue of Liberty of connection, if you will, the symbol of what we need these days. We all need a destination where we can go, like the Cheers song says, where someone knows your name when you walk in and you get that feeling of warmth, of connection, of affiliation. It's not about ideology. It's not about politics. It's not about anything like that. It's about the human connection, which is really the most powerful fundamental force for all that's good in life. What we thought we'd do today is take bits of some of them and combine them into sort of a tapestry of interviews and let you sample the best of each of them. Our first guest in this conglomeration of guests is Matthew Feiner. Matthew's the owner of Devil's Gear Bike Shop in New Haven. And he talked to me about a traumatic episode from his childhood. I'll let him describe it. Very interesting man, and I think you'll enjoy hearing from him. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
And again, your name is?
Matthew J. Feiner.
Matthew, I'm Ned.
Ned, nice to meet you.
So, who are you?
I am an unwilling and uncooperative court jester.
Where do you jest?
Here in New Haven. And, it's funny, I define myself as an activist who owns a bicycle shop. I also do visual art, so I do a lot of things, but I often describe myself as an unlicensed, untrained time traveler. I have post-traumatic stress disorder from my childhood, and I have it on a cellular level, according to my doctors. And I have no choice but to bounce around in time. Sometimes, like even right now when I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about something else that happened, that went on, as if it was happening right now. And at times it stinks, but other times the upside to that sort of psychological disorder is I also remember really great things that happened.
And how old are you?
52.
And the bad things happened when?
When I was 2.5, and then when I was 4.
And you remember them?
Vividly.
At 2.5?
Yes.
Really?
It's my oldest memories, is the after effect. I don't remember the accident, but I remember being in the hospital as a little. It's my oldest memories. I remember being in a hospital and how long the nights were.
And what brought you to the hospital?
I had been thrown down a flight of stairs and I had shattered my femur. And so in 1964, you were put in traction for a couple weeks in the hospital, and you were pinned to a bed. And then I was put in a body cast for 6 weeks.
At age 2.5?
Yes. So my mother said I was a stinky little heavy baby.
Is she the one who threw you down the stairs?
No, my mother is not the person who did that to me.
Who is the person?
They have since apologized, and I have since stopped having that nightmare, which is great.
And then what happened at age 4?
That same immediately took me next door and fed me to the neighbor's dog, who was a vicious little dog, and the dog ripped my nose off and my eyelid. And dug me up the back of my head and dragged me around the yard for a little while.
At age 4?
Yes. And so I had my nose sewn back on and my eyelid sewn back on, and again I was back in the hospital again. And I at 4 years old, I was in stitches for a while. I can remember walking around with my mom shopping and people looking at me with absolute horror because of this face I had, this what I referred to as Frankenstein face.
And you remember they're looking at you.
Yes. So some of my older memories are of people looking at me in sheer with their jaws like, that sort of like aghast face.
And you felt ashamed?
Yes, I felt embarrassed, ashamed. I didn't want people to look at me, even after the scars came out. It was interesting. It was not interesting. It was not the way a child should be brought up. So,
how much older was this?
A year.
Only 1 year?
Yes. Yeah. You need to understand post-traumatic stress disorder comes with a whole host of other stuff. And then I didn't grow up in a very polite town. It's very competitive. I had a lot of bullies in my life, and I deal with it every night.
You have nightmares every night?
Up until this past October, yes.
Of being teased, bullied?
Bullied, beaten up, tormented, tortured, ridiculed.
Why?
Because that's what post-traumatic stress disorder does.
No, but I mean, why did people bully?
Oh, because I was so cute. I'm serious. That's what I tell people. It's like I was so adorable as a little kid. Towhead, blue-eyed, really, just a cute kid. And I was very artistic. Bullies love a target, and I was a great target.
Have you ever taken any medication?
I went on medication only 3 months ago for this. Okay, so I was only diagnosed with PTSD 4 years ago now. Okay, so up until 4 years ago, I always thought it was I knew what it was, but I didn't understand what it was.
Yeah.
Okay? I knew my life was playing out these 4 moments in my life, in my dreams, but also keeping me in a defensive posture even during my waking life.
Right.
But it was only in this past October I was in a really bad accident that re-triggered the deep PTSD.
Traffic accident?
Bicycle accident. I went over the handlebars at 40 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
And broke my arm in 4 places, wound up with a good head injury. So I was wound up in the hospital. And so I woke up in the middle of the night on oxycodone, on all these different things. And oxycodone, pardon my French, is crap. It's not a good painkiller. But I woke up in the middle of the night thinking I was 2 years old. And the nurses came in and I tried to explain what was going on, and they're like, "You're not 2 years old." They're like, "You're 52 years old." And I was like, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "A 2-year-old can't talk." And then they calmed me down, and then I didn't sleep for the 3 days that I was in the hospital. So,
what do you do with your art?
What do I do with it?
Do you sell it?
I hoard it. Yeah.
You don't sell it?
I used to sell my art when I lived in Austin, Texas. But since I've moved back here, I've hoarded my art.
Why?
That way it's worth more when I die. Because I want to be able to leave it to somebody and have them be like, "Oh, Matt Finer's dead. Let's buy his art."
Is it drawings?
No, it's collage-based mixed media installation work. I actually have an exhibit coming up. I only just started exhibiting again.
So will you be willing to sell some of it?
The work there will actually be for sale because it'll be small individual pieces. Most of the work I do is an entire room.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. You'll see when you go online. You'll see.
You're quite a connector. I notice that you know everyone.
I've had, because all right, so I have the bike shop. I do art, so I have that. I do improv comedy. I'm an activist. I'm very outspoken when it comes to people's rights, civil rights, social rights, gender rights. So,
when you say you're an activist, what do you activate?
I look out for the person who has no voice, and I am their voice. I have a very open mind, and I think our country is headed drastically not our country. It's hard to say what it is about where we live in America and how we live in America and what's going on that people want to hate so much.
Yeah.
And people just don't want to let people be people.
Right.
And just, it's funny, whenever the whole talk about the politics come up and people talk, taxation this and Obamacare that, why isn't anybody saying military spending?
Or how about we just get along?
How about we all just get along and just be thankful?
Stop blaming and start embracing.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. We are an amazing people, but unfortunately, we only really seem to come together at really tragic moments. I know you'll remember post 9/11. We all came together.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole country came together. It was so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you're very impressive. You should keep being an activist.
Thank you.
You are remarkably talented. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you for talking to me. It was and I look forward to reading your book.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Adil, owner of Crepe Chopette, a very interesting man. He began with a mobile bike crepe cart. Well, that did so well that he turned it into a crepe restaurant. And if you go to Crepe Chopette, Adil will be more than happy to make you one of the most delicious crepes you've ever had.
Adil.
Adil,
Yeah,
A-D-I-L?
nice to meet you. Yeah.
Nice
And you?
to meet Ned.
Ned? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. So tell me about yourself.
I own a restaurant. I own a small creperie in town. Have you heard of Crepe Chopette? It's a creperie. Yeah, I started with a tricycle in the streets selling crepe. And
You're French?
yes, and it escalated to the restaurant.
So you started with a tricycle.
Yeah, I started
What does that
with-
mean, a tricycle?
It's a tricycle because I was in banking industry when I moved to America 10 years ago, and I wanted to do something I like. And
Why did you come over
then I met my ex-wife in France. She's from here, and that's the reason why I
So
came.
she brought you over here.
Yeah,
You were willing to give up your country for her.
absolutely. I'll do it again.
You're a romantic.
I don't know about that. I don't know what I am. But
But anyway, she came.
love is different than romance.
So you came over here with her
Yes.
as a banker.
I had no idea what I'm going to do,
What
but I
did you
came
do?
for her. Then I joined banking.
So you got a job in a bank.
Got a job in a bank.
In what city?
Providence, 3 years, and then
Providence.
Manhattan for another few years. Yeah.
And you were with your wife?
No, we divorced
After how long?
after being together for 10 years. Yeah.
Oh, so while you were in banking, you were with her?
Yeah. No, I came for her.
Yes.
For her.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened that you gave her up?
No, I didn't give her up.
She
I didn't
left
say
you?
that.
Oh.
It's just a question of ambience. She's the greatest person I've ever met in my life, and I think she thinks the same thing about me as well. And just ambience change.
I don't understand.
It really is ambience change. It's circumstances that accumulate and lead to a divorce, and that's it.
But you both think each other is the greatest person
Absolutely.
in the world?
At least I think, and I think she does too. Yeah, she told me. Yeah.
How did the conversation to get divorced come up?
It was spontaneous one. The idea displayed itself by itself, and then we tried to not do it, but.
But I'm just so you're sitting there. You're
Yeah.
very happy with each other.
Not really. I mean, we love each other, and then just there is some personal circumstances. She lost her mom. I after lost my dad. So she felt a little sadness, and me too, a little bit when I lost my dad, and this and that. And we kind of changed. We were not enthusiastic anymore, and then a conversation after a conversation that lead to a mess, and that lead to no ambience anymore, no good ambience, and then that's it.
So you both lost a parent.
Yeah.
You both went into a little bit of grief and depression.
Yes. Not me depression. I won't call it depression.
grief.
It's just
Sadness.
Yeah.
So the pizzazz went out of the relationship.
Kind of. Yeah.
So you weren't having fun together,
That's it. Probably. Yeah.
and that continued.
It's a valid reason.
Yeah. So you said
Yeah.
this isn't fun.
There was not those classic reasons why people divorce, like
Right, no.
cheating on
No,
this
no,
or
no.
or money or something. It was just as we got married for a beautiful reason, we divorced for a beautiful reason too.
It wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah. But the reason was also the way we did it, the way we end up was nice.
So first you part very amicably and sweetly.
Yeah. Very nice. I'm happy about how it happened.
Your congratulations.
Thank you.
You didn't trash what was a beautiful
No, that was my main
Goal.
concern. Yeah.
Good for you. And then, why did you decide I won't be a banker anymore?
Can I say any word?
Yes, you
Can
can
I
say
be
any
free
word.
and-
Yes.
I found that word intellectual masturbation. Word full of fancy terms, manipulating people, banking. Let's do that. Let's do this strategy to reach this market. Blah blah blah. I want to do a tangible product that I offer you, create a smile, give me a few bucks, and we're all happy.
But what kept you with it for 10 years, the banking?
Because I was married, because I had to, because...
So it was the money?
It was the money, yeah.
It was good money in banking?
It was nice money. Yeah.
Where did you get the courage to say, this is just a lot of intellectual masturbation?
I don't think it's courage. I've been always like that in my life. Just follow things with my intuition, and let's say I'm not going to do it, and let's try this thing, and it worked beautifully.
And how did you... So I'm going to try this thing.
Yeah.
Of all the things you could have picked,
Yeah.
why did you pick selling crepes from a bicycle, a
Because
tricycle?
that's the product I grew up with. I know it very well. I never imagined I would do it as a profession, and it was the closest thing to me, and that's it.
So you had your bike and you had your car.
Yeah.
What city did you start off in?
New Haven, Connecticut.
So
Which is one of the most wonderful cities I've ever been.
So your first morning, you ride your bike down the street.
Mm-hmm. I went to the health department to get the license.
Yeah.
But the health departments, when you have a tricycle or food truck, you have to go to them, and then they come down and then they see it.
Oh, they inspect it.
So of course, you can't just sell anything in the street if you don't have a license. So I got the license, and there was no food in the car, just coming back from the health department to my place. I'm all happy, and then people starts beeping at me in the street. Hey, where are you gonna be? Can I get a crepe? So it was
Did you must have had a sign on it.
Yes, that said crepe chocolate. Yes, yeah.
So where did you sell your first crepe?
By the British Museum, Chapel Street. And also when I was there the first week, the director of the British Museum came out to me and he told me, please stay here, please don't go somewhere else, stay here.
So, but you had no legal claim. You didn't know if somebody else would take that away from you.
I did, because I left banking from that world of competition and all that, I didn't care who's going to come next to me.
Yeah.
I was just...
How did you pay for the cart?
It was a small saving I had.
And you started selling crepes.
Mm-hmm.
And business was good?
Business was wonderful, yes.
And you were alone cooking these crepes?
In the beginning, yeah. Then I hired people and...
And how busy did you get before you said, I'm going to open a restaurant?
Very busy with events, people hiring.
Oh, you'd come and do private parties?
Yeah, birthdays and bar mitzvahs and corporate events and anything.
And you saved up enough money to go to a bank and get funding for the restaurant?
No, I didn't get funding from the restaurant.
You paid for it yourself?
I paid for it myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you rented a space?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Business is good?
Business is good, yeah. What motivates me every day is people.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't want to disappoint. People love what I do, so that love pushes me to improve a lot of things and be better at everything. And I am passionate more about the people and their love, and that actually influenced my products as well.
Tell me how.
There's people that come to you, for example, and they see me and they smile or they hug me or they love me and they tell me it's wonderful and everything. So that actually tells me that those people are very receptive and very smart. They love what I do, which means I have to be better. Automatically, I think like that. I have to be better and improve. And so that love makes
motivates you. Motivates you.
Absolutely, 100%.
Much more than the money.
Much more than the money. There's different ways there's a lot of ways. You can make money if you want to make money.
But you picked what you knew.
Yes, what I know and...
What you're good at.
What I am good at, yeah.
And what you like to do.
And what I like to do.
I always say that should be a career, the overlap of three circles. What you're really good at, what you really like to do, and what someone will pay you to do.
Yes.
That should be your career.
Yeah. And it is my career.
Yeah, whereas banking was not that.
No. Banking was missing the first one, what I like to do.
You've lived a dream so far, it seems like.
Yeah, it's amazing. I actually sometimes get so tired physically, okay?
Yeah.
At night, right? So I feel like I want to sleep and everything.
Yeah.
The next day, I can't wait to wake up to go and do it again. That's
wonderful.
I've never had that in my life.
No.
I had that to wake up to see my mom and enthusiastic, maybe school, to see my friends, But as a career, as a job, never had that. I don't know what Monday difference from Saturday. All of them are good days.
So you work 14-hour days.
Maybe I will sound a little. How do you say that? I don't count hours anymore. Okay.
You just stay until the job.
Oh yeah, it's fine. It's nice.
Yeah.
Hope it continues that way.
Well, I'm sure it will.
Yeah. Hope it continues that way. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to coming.
Yes, please.
And doing a podcast there.
We don't make just grapes. We I think you can be in your house and have a good meal as well. But you go to a place for other reasons.
You make an ambiance.
As a psychologist, you know that. Yeah. And
you make magic.
It's more than the food that you eat or the drink that you have. It's something that is very therapeutic for people,
Absolutely.
which is sitting down talking, or not even when you're by yourself, when you talk to yourself or listen to yourself, is as important as talking to other people.
Yeah. I call it connection.
That it's connection, whether it's mono connection or macro connection.
Well, you've created a destination in New Haven.
Yes. I think so. I think that's what people are saying right now.
You mentioned how much you love New Haven. What do you love about New Haven?
I don't know. I love people about New Haven. I really do. People are amazing. I mean, I don't know if the products brought me to that state of mind, but people are amazing in this town. Amazing. They showed me huge respect, and I'll do the same.
Well, you've made a great contribution to the city.
Without knowing it, I didn't intend that, but that's what people say. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now we'll hear from Greg Sherritt. I'll let him tell you his story. He's a musician, remarkable man, has had a very, very difficult life, but he is a true rebounder, gutsy survivor, resilient, just exudes positive energy. Well, I'm sitting here at East Rock Coffee with my new friend Greg.
How are you?
Nice to meet you, Greg.
Nice to meet you also.
And I walked in and I said, Greg, could we interview for our show? And he said, what's the subject of your show? And I said, it's about you. So he said, sure. That's all we know about each other.
I'm a narcissist. What the hell?
And have you been a long-time customer at this place?
I have been a long-time customer at this place. I've been coming here since 1998.
And has it always been a place where people like to come to connect?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, they have a no electronics policy here.
Right.
Which is no laptops or kind of interface with the interwebs. So it forces people to converse.
Forces them.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something.
Yeah.
You can either read a book or you can talk to people.
Yeah, so you're allowed to read and you're allowed to
converse.
And it's small enough so that you sort of naturally would talk to the person.
Absolutely.
So do you find yourself striking up conversations with strangers?
Well, that's just my natural nature. So, yes.
So you're a natural extrovert.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, tell me about yourself. I'd like to know.
Well, I'm actually a professional extrovert.
A professional?
Extrovert.
A professional extrovert.
Yeah, I'm a professional musician.
Oh, what do you play?
I sing.
Oh, do you sing in a band? Or?
I have a music company.
Oh, really?
Of which I provide music for any occasion. A number of different bands. I work through Yale. I work through a lot of corporate entities, beer companies.
So what's a typical gig for you?
There's no typical gig for me, which is why I love doing it.
So weddings, bar mitzvahs?
Not really.
No.
More bar gigs, playing in bars, theaters, special events, parties, corporate events.
And what kind of music?
Blues and soul and rock and roll. I sing and I teach other people to sing. I train singers.
So you don't DJ? It's all live music?
I make music. Yeah. I write music, I perform music, I arrange, I produce.
Well, tell me your story. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a little town called Milford, Connecticut, which is just south of New Haven.
And what happened?
I come from a musical family, and that kind of fell apart as I was a teenager. I ended up being a homeless teenager.
How did that happen?
Well, people get sick.
Yeah?
Yeah, my mother got ill, and then I was on my own.
Where was your dad?
My dad was raising a family somewhere else.
So when you got born, you had a mom and a dad together?
Yeah, they divorced when I was born.
When you were born?
Yeah.
Why'd they divorce when you were born?
They thought a baby would save the relationship, and it didn't.
So right away, dad left? Did you have any siblings?
I have an older brother, 16 years older than me, and an older sister, 8 years older than me.
So here you are, your dad leaves, and your mom's raising you as a single mom.
Right.
And you go to school.
And I go to school in Milford, which is a very suburban community.
Yeah. And play music? What do you do in school?
Music all through school. I was the singer for everything, all graduations, baccalaureates.
Really?
That's what I did.
And then...
And that's what my sister did before me.
And you became homeless?
At 15 and 16.
Because your mom passed away?
Because my mother was very ill. She had to be hospitalized.
What was she ill with?
She had mental illness.
What kind of mental illness?
She was a bipolar manic depressive.
And she was in the hospital?
She was hospitalized many times. So when she was hospitalized, I would have to figure it out.
And what did you do?
I lived outside for a long time. I lived on, wherever I could pull up a piece of dirt. But eventually I ended up getting taken in by a really nice, big, huge Irish Catholic family. And finishing high school, living with them.
When you were homeless, how did you eat?
Any way I could.
Meaning what?
Find money, make money, day jobs, a gig here, a gig there, whatever I could do. Survive.
Did you feel hopeless? Did you feel...
Absolutely. But I learned how to rely on myself until I couldn't anymore, and then I was lucky enough to get taken in by a family who could help me with the things I couldn't do myself.
Like what?
Finish school.
How did the family find you?
I went to school with their sons.
So one of your classmates said to his parents, let's bring him in?
Yeah.
And they did?
And they did.
How long were you with them?
I still am.
How old are you now?
I am 52 now.
And they're still alive?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
My brothers and sisters. The parents, of course, have passed, but my brothers and sisters are still...
Where do they live?
All over the place. Between Potsdam, New York, Boston, Massachusetts, Burlington, Vermont, here in Connecticut.
And what'd you do after high school?
Worked. Hard. Sang. I started getting paid to sing at 18.
Wow.
So between a day job and a night job, I did both.
What were the day jobs?
I did everything from changing tires at a town fair tire. I eventually settled on driving trucks. I really enjoyed that. I got to drive a truck route between Branford, Connecticut, Essex, Connecticut, and got to learn all those parts of the state that I'd never been in before.
And then the singing gigs just kept coming?
Kept coming.
Yeah.
Kept coming. And things got better and better. Eventually, I moved out of Milford. I wanted to live in a more integrated society. I wanted to live in a more progressive society. And New Haven was the perfect place. So I moved to New Haven when I was about 30. And from there, I just have been singing ever since. And I've been independent in business for 6 years now.
You don't drive the truck anymore?
Oh, I don't have to. I don't have to.
Where does your positivity come from, do you think?
Survival. If you've survived the worst thing that could ever happen to you, the rest is all downhill sailing.
And what was the worst that could ever happen?
Probably being homeless.
At such a young age?
At such a young age. Being powerless, being stuck in a gap age where you're not old enough to be an adult and you're not young enough to be a child.
Right.
And being in a place where where you're completely disenfranchised at that age. I think once you survive that, and then once I got sober and I made some real serious accomplishments in my life.
But that was years after you were homeless.
Yeah, but it's all additional, right? It all stacks up. Over time, the good experiences stack up.
Impressive story.
Just my story. Yeah. Everybody's got one.
Yeah. Well, this has been a real pleasure for me.
Well, thank you very much. It was very nice to do it.
Thank you for sharing your story. Well, there is our show from the marvelous East Rock Coffee Shop, a place that we really have loved visiting and will continue to visit. Please take this show as a springboard to go out and connect with others, renew friendships, make new friendships, but in this age of distraction, take advantage of the major antidote to distraction, which is connection. Thanks so much. This is Ned Hallowell for Distraction. If you have an issue, a question, or a suggestion, call us toll-free at 844-55-CONNECT or email connect@distractionpodcast.com or go to our website at distractionpodcast.com. And thanks so much for listening. Distraction is produced by Collisions, the podcast division of CRN International. Collisions, podcasts for curious people. Our music theme was created by Mark Berman.